All right. Hello. Welcome to Nutrition 101, also known as Introduction to Human Nutrition. My name is George McGuire, and I will be your instructor for this fall 2025 quarter of this course. So we're going to start off with a little bit of about me or background about me so you can understand why I'm here and what I know and make a better, more informed decision on if I'm the right instructor for you. But I was born and raised in Florida, went to college at Florida State University for both my undergraduate and graduate degrees, and just moved out here to Seattle, Washington, in late 2021. So I've been here for a few years now. It definitely feels like home out here. But in school, I double majored in psychology and biology as an undergraduate, and then went on to get my master's in STEM teaching. So my background is in how to teach as well as in biology. Right? I did some undergraduate research in the effects of the bacteria that live in our gut on our psychology. And then in graduate school, did a bit of research into the SARS-CoV-2 virus, which is what causes COVID-19, and how to use that as a model for teaching about genetics and mutation and understanding how this COVID pandemic even started in the first place. So my background is very much in biology, not so much in nutrition or in dietetics, right? So I am much better at understanding and teaching about what is in our food, what is in our bodies, and how those things interact. And I don't have much experience or background in diet planning, grocery shopping, and cooking for specific nutrition-related goals. But I have built up a bit of that knowledge. I have looked at a lot of the research, and a lot of that shows up in this class. But just wanted to get that out of the way. I am a biology person, not necessarily a nutrition and dietetics person. Outside of school, I love to be outdoors and I love to play video games. And, I this year became a Ironman triathlete. That's what you see in this corner over here. So I love endurance sports, running, cycling, not so much swimming, but it's a mandatory part of these triathlons. I like hiking, canoeing, exploring. Got some other pictures of me adventuring with my wife, Heaven. I have a big mutt. His name is Coda. He's crazy. That's why I use this personality picture for him here. I got him to be an emotional support animal for me, but turns out a few years later, he's diagnosed with anxiety and he's on medication. And so now I'm more often taking care of him. Um, and what else here? Video games. This summer, I got really addicted to old school RuneScape, which, if any of you have ever played this game, you know how much of a time suck that is. And so that took a lot of my focus and energy this summer, along with exercising a bit. But I'm happy to get back into the regular routine with work with this fall quarter getting started up here. Enough about me. Let's start covering some highlights from the syllabus. Now, this video is not meant to completely replace reading the syllabus. You should always fully read through any syllabus-like material that is a contract between you, the student, and us, the instructors. So it's very important that you understand the terms of that contract before you stay enrolled and essentially sign that contract. But there are some key highlights that I want to make sure you understand or at least can hear from my voice, what's important about them or what they mean. So Canvas is going to be our home base, our hub for all things related to this course, our slide decks and other resources, recorded lecture videos, which are a big part of this course format, this syllabus that we're reviewing here, the course schedule, anything that you need, you can find on Canvas. So it's going to be really important that you become familiar with navigating Canvas if you haven't already. This is a hybrid model course, which we'll talk more about in a second. But we do meet twice a week, every week. So every Monday and Wednesday, we will meet in the Science and Math building. That's SAM, S-A-M, Science and Math, on the third floor in room 307. And so that will be every Monday and Wednesday at 11:45 a.m. to 12:50 p.m. And then I just have my email here, which you can find all over our Canvas site and all over our other resources, which is the best way to reach me, either with that email or through Canvas inbox. So outside of our face-to-face meetings on those Mondays and Wednesdays, I am also available during regular office hours every Wednesday and Thursday morning. So from 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., you can basically guarantee that I will be in my office and available for you. I will drop whatever I'm doing and help you answer your questions, whatever you need. I strongly advise that you come by office hours at least once to check it out and see how helpful it might be. This is a resource that I wish I'd taken more advantage of as a student. Now that I'm on the instructor side, I realize how helpful this is. It's essentially one-on-one tutoring from the person who's actually teaching the course. So make sure to come check that out, stop by and say hi. If you're not available during those days and times, I'm also happy to set up an appointment with you, whether that's coming to see me in person or meeting on Zoom, so please reach out. And my office is also on the third floor of the SAM building. I'm in room 318, which is just down the hall from the classroom where we regularly meet. Uh, an important part about this, if you ever want to discuss specifics about your grade, how you're doing, what you can do, etc., I do need to ensure that I'm talking to you, not your family, not a friend. So in order to do that, I need to be able to see you. So that means I will only discuss grades with you if you come in person to my office or if we are on Zoom with our cameras on, right? So I can see that I'm talking to you. Here are listed all of the course objectives for this Nutrition 101 course. These are shared through all of the Nutrition 101 courses on campus here. So this just basically explains what you are going to be learning, and if you pass this course, what you are expected to know or be capable of. So give those a read through so you can understand what you can expect from this class a bit more. As far as materials for this class, you don't need a copy of this textbook. I have tried to design the slide decks and other resources so that you have all of the information available to you without needing your own textbook itself. But if you would like to get a copy of the textbook for your own reference, I use the Understanding Nutrition textbook by Whitney and Rolfs. Okay? Any edition should be fine. New editions just have some minor updates, but most of the information is the same. What you will need access to in order to succeed in this course is regular access to a computer or laptop. You will not be able to sufficiently complete this course on your phone or on a tablet. Canvas is not set up to work in that modality. You need to have an actual computer or laptop, whether that's at home or if you're using that on campus. But again, you cannot just do this on your phone or on a tablet. You will miss out on things. And you will also need regular, reliable access to internet. Right? If you wait until the last minute to submit an assignment and your internet goes out at 11:30 p.m. the night that it's due, I'm not going to be accepting that as an excuse and allowing you to resubmit that for full credit. That means that you missed out and it's late. Right? So please make sure you are planning around access to reliable internet so that you are getting your assignment submitted on time, or at least communicating with me if things do come up ahead of time. So a bit about the design of this course. Like I mentioned earlier, we are only meeting twice a week from 11:45 to 12:50. That is an hour and 5 minutes per meeting, twice a week over an 11-week quarter. That's just not enough time for us to cover all the material in the textbook, or even if we did use that time to just cover textbook material, it doesn't give us much time to do anything extra or fun. I would just be rapid fire speaking at you the way that I am doing in this recording, with no time for questions, interactions, activities to go beyond just fact-based learning. So I have made use of this format by using what is called the flipped classroom model. So instead of using class time for me just lecturing at you, you're going to be learning most of the fact-based information through recorded lectures that you will watch at home. So these are going to be uploaded to YouTube, just like this video, and available to you on Canvas. And you will need to find time throughout the week to watch those recordings. That way, when we are in class, we can go beyond just the basic facts of the textbook and actually apply that information, dive deeper into why it's important and how we can utilize it to understand our bodies and understand our foods better. Okay? As well as to build skills that you can actually utilize in your real life to help benefit you, etc. So that is our course design, this flipped classroom. You will be required to watch recorded lectures at home. If you aren't watching them, you're just going to quickly fall behind. So please get into a habit and routine of watching them. And then class time, we'll be doing activities and whatnot. So This is all going to build into a final cumulative portfolio, which will determine your final GPA. And I'll touch more on that here on this grading slide. Right? So everything you're doing in this class is going to help you earn points. Right? There are over 700 points available from all the different assignments, quizzes, activities and worksheets, documentaries, diet analyses. There is a research project. All of these things and all of their components are worth some amount of points. And most often, if you complete that thing and you submit it on time, you're going to get the full points for that assignment. But the whole idea here is that there are more points than you need to pass the class. You only need to earn at least 500 points by the end of the quarter to earn a passing grade. And once you've earned those 500 points, your final grade is then going to be determined by your final portfolio, which is basically just a collection of some of the major things that you did during the quarter, with a bit of reflection on why those things were important and what you learned. So you earn points by completing assignments throughout the quarter. You don't need to get a 100% on every single assignment to pass. You don't need to complete every single assignment to pass, right? There are way more points available than what is needed to pass, but you need at least 500. And then with that 500 points, you will then turn in your final portfolio in the final weeks of the course, and that portfolio grade will determine your final GPA. And that's what you see displayed here. So your final portfolio will be graded on this 10-point scale. We're earning a 9 or a 10. With those 500 points, we're earning you a 4.0 GPA. Okay. I'm sure there will be more questions about this, and please come to me with questions and clarifications about how this works, and I'll be addressing it, I'm sure, multiple times in class. But this is designed to try to take some weight off of the assessment part of courses. There are no exams, right? So you don't need to cram study. You don't need 100% on all of your quizzes and all of your assignments in order to pass this class, right? So this is supposed to give some freedom and some stress relief, so that you can pick and choose what assignments you care about completing and focus more of your energy and time on the content and types of assignments that you're interested in. And another important thing on this slide is the late policy for this course. Basically, any assignment in this class can be completed and submitted after the due date, but will only be eligible for up to 50% credit. So if there's a quiz that was worth 20 points and you didn't turn that in by the due date, you completed it the next week, but you earned all the points on that quiz, you would receive a 50% penalty, and so you would only get 10 points on that quiz. Right? But you could also do that 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later. As long as it's done by the end of the quarter, you can still earn up to 50% credit. So we're going to do a quick overview of all the different assignment types. Basically, there are 3 categories of minor assignments. We have quizzes, activities and worksheets, and documentaries. So quizzes are worth 10 to 20 points each. There's going to be 1 per topic, so typically at least 1 per week. And you have unlimited attempts on these quizzes. So these are designed to test the factual knowledge from the lecture content, and you can take them as many times as you need to have full mastery, and only the highest grade will count. So please take full advantage of that, strategize around your attempts and how to use them. After each attempt, you'll be able to see what questions you got wrong, but you won't be able to see all the correct answers until after the due date. So keep that in mind as well. Activities and worksheets. These are going to be spread throughout the course. Some we'll do in class to guide our collaborative learning. Some you can just do at home, or really even if you miss class when we did one of these in class, you can do it at home. These are all worth 15 points each, and these are meant to go one step further than the quizzes, where the quizzes are mostly just based on factual information. The activities and worksheets are going to get you started with applying that information and understanding why it matters and how it works. And then our last minor assignment here are the documentaries. So there's lots of really important nutrition-related topics and concepts that aren't addressed directly in the textbook. And these documentaries are kind of our excuse or avenue for addressing those important topics like policy, agriculture, access. And so we're going to do 3 of these, or you have been assigned 3 of these throughout the quarter. These are worth 20 points each. It's going to be a mix of fact-based questions from the documentary that kind of prove that you watched, as well as some questions that are based on your own personal opinions and experiences, so that you can't just throw this into ChatGPT and spit out a bunch of answers. I am looking for some personality, right, from you. Um, Show me what you think, what this means to you, etc. All right, so now getting into some of the major assignments. So we have 3 diet analyses and then a research project, which are all worth much more points than the other small assignments, but they are less frequent throughout the course. Right? So we'll have 3 diet analyses. This is a required part of the class, having you track or get practice with diet tracking and then analyzing data from a diet tracker. So you will be tracking your everything you ate for a 4-day period at least once this quarter and putting that into this free diet tracker website called chronometer.com. Or if you have another one of your preference, that's fine. And you'll be using data from that website to then answer questions on these diet analyses sheets. So this is now the true test of your understanding of why and how from the course content. So really using what we've learned from lecture to now understand, okay, this food had this much of this thing in it, and that might have this impact over time, etc. So we'll do 3 of these, building as our class content builds. And these are graded on effort, completion, and most importantly, authenticity, right? If I see that you put full effort and you are truly representing your thoughts and your understanding, I'm happy to allow you to resubmit your diet analyses as many times as you need in order to get full credit based on feedback from me. Right. Our research project. So you will be working on one research project through many, many weeks of this course. So we're going to start in week 2, where you are choosing your topic and your target audience, and then we'll have multiple milestone assignments throughout the rest of the quarter that help you keep up with the research, note-taking, and then drafting of your final infographic, which is what you're working towards building. And so you're going to choose a nutrition-related chronic disease. You're going to learn how to do research with help from our lovely librarians at the Seattle Central College Library. You'll then conduct that research, take notes, and then try to compile that into a beautiful, engaging infographic that is geared towards educating a specific target audience. So this will be worth up to 150 points total from all of these components, with that final infographic being the most points. And there's going to be a grading rubric for you to look at for all the different pieces of how this is graded. And then finally, the last thing that you will submit in this course is your final portfolio. So in the very beginning of this course, I don't remember if we have it set up for week 1 or week 2, I'm going to introduce you to a template essentially for setting up your portfolio, which you will then hopefully spend the rest of the quarter coming in and updating as you complete different things. So there isn't necessarily a whole lot of work that should need to be done specifically for the portfolio as like its own separate assignment. This is really more just organization of everything that you've done so that you have your major assignments, the major learnings, evidence of growth and understanding all in one place of like, here is what I did this quarter, here's my understanding, etc. So this is not worth a whole lot of points on its own. It's not meant to really heavily contribute to your overall point total because the final submission is what is going to determine your GPA. So it already has weight based on that. So yeah, if you have more questions on how this is used to determine your final GPA, go back to that grading slide or when I talked about grading, or come to me with questions. But mainly this is just going to be organizing all of your things into one place with a cover page, table of contents, and then a few reflections throughout. Here's a quick look at what our current tentative schedule, so my current plan for the quarter looks like. So we essentially are going to have one day each week where we are reviewing some of the major topics from that week's chapter. Okay, so that's where you see chapter 1, 2, 3, etc. And then we're going to have on Wednesdays, more often than on Mondays, some sort of activity or some sort of workshop to help you build towards those other major assignments. Okay? So introducing you to how to do a diet analysis, introducing you to how to do research and find credible sources using the library database, how to create your infographic, etc. I will use class time to help you figure that stuff out so that you aren't left alone to do these larger things, right? So some quick best practices for success in this course. Again, a lot of the work is going to be done outside of class time. We only meet for about 2 hours a week. That does not compare to the 5 credit hours that you're supposed to be getting from this class. So you should budget around 7.5 to 10 hours outside of class time. Um, and this does not include time spent watching lectures for the first time. That should be considered class time essentially. So make sure you are budgeting about 10 hours, I guess, for classwork if you really want to build an understanding of this content. Okay? If you're just here to get a credit, you don't really care so much about the content, then fine, you can blow through a lot of this and still get good grades just for completion and effort, as long as you're showing that effort. But if you really want to learn something here and you really want to benefit your life from this nutrition knowledge, you're probably going to need about 7.5 to 10 hours a week. So you'll spend that time reviewing learning objectives or learning outcomes. Use those learning objectives to guide your note taking. Those are identifying or highlighting the most important things from that chapter. Watch the recorded lectures, skim the textbook chapter if you get your own copy of the textbook. And then early on in the week, it's really good practice to quickly review the assignments that are going to be due that week and their instructions. So that way, when you see me in class or if you come to office hours throughout the week, you already have your questions or any confusion that needs clarification ready for me. So I can help you out before the day that the assignment is due, right? If you're emailing me on Sunday, I'm not answering that email, right? It's the weekend. I'm taking a break, right? So make sure you are starting these assignments early, at least looking at what they're requiring, so that if you have questions, you can bring them to me early. During class, please come prepared to participate. A lot of class time is going to include some sort of collaborative assignment or activity where I really heavily am going to rely on your contributions to push us through it. So please come prepared to participate as much as you can. I understand not everyone can come every single day with a smiling face and high energy, but as often as possible, at least uh, come available. Bring your questions, ask questions when you have them, and then offer your input and share your experiences. After class, please make sure you are checking Canvas regularly, not only for what assignments are due and their due date, but I'm going to be communicating with you outside of class primarily through Canvas, whether that's Canvas announcements or through your Canvas inbox. So don't just ignore those Canvas messages. Don't just ignore those class announcements. Oftentimes they're going to include something really important. So please check that out. Some additional tips, if this is your first quarter in college or your first quarter at Seattle Central College, make sure you have your email set up and you have regular access to that either on your phone or on your computer, because again, those notifications are going to you from Canvas through your email. Check out your Canvas account settings and notifications. Make sure you are getting notified about due dates, you are getting notified about announcements, you are getting notified about messages. Okay? And you can choose your preference for how you're being notified, whether that's email or text message, etc. And then get connected to campus Wi-Fi as soon as you can. Okay? You're going to need Wi-Fi in class here multiple times throughout the quarter. So become familiar with how to log into that and start memorizing your Seattle Central College password so that you can log into that reliably. And then beyond that, if you ever need help in this course, your first stop should be me, right? I am a resource here for you, right? So please reach out to me if you have questions, even if it's outside of course content, where you can get access to something like tutoring. There's free tutoring that the college offers, or any other student resources like counseling, like accommodation resources. We have the Accessibility Resource Center. So please reach out to me for anything, and I will try to get you in touch with someone who knows more if I can't help you myself. And I believe that's it here. So yeah, that was our quick run through of all of the syllabus highlights. Please reach out at any point if you have questions, concerns, or comments. And I'm really looking forward to this fall quarter of Nutrition 101 with you guys. So I will see you in the next video or in class.